Hi, it's Jason from O'Connor Chiropractic. I really wanted to get a message across today to try and dispel some of the fear, anxiety that's really taking grip of our community. And I'm not one to give advice. I know on the procedures and how we need to protect ourselves against the virus in terms of separation from groups, families, loved ones, what we're doing in our schools. Obviously there's leading experts in that area that are trying to give the best advice. And I think we're all keeping up to date on the news. But one of the things I think people are really forgetting is fear can be very damaging and harmful within itself. And when we look at the science of the immune system, we know that the first thing fear does, or anxiety, is produces a chemical called cortisol. So I wanted to just shortly discuss this. What I also want to do is provide kind of a resource to our community to help people get through this challenging time and to help people give a path, a guide of what action steps they can take. And I think that's really what people want to know is, what can I do to help my family, my community, my loved ones, the vulnerable, the elderly. So I'm going to give my take on what I feel the best action we can take. And as I say, it certainly isn't creating more fear, more kind of irrational behaviour. I can see a lot of intelligent people maybe doing quite irrational things, and I think that's always done, and it always has been done out of fear. So coming back to fear and how it affects us and how it affects our health is, as I say, we release cortisol. Cortisol is really important in our body to create that fight or flight response. And that fight or flight response is vital to save us again from a physical attack. Unfortunately, one of the first things it does is shuts down your immune system. So again, bombarding ourselves with fear and panic, and I think it's human nature to anticipate the worst things. You know, everyone getting ill, the hospital's not coping, businesses shutting down, people losing their houses. We can kind of run this scenario in our mind, and while we're doing that physiologically, we know that we're low in our body's immune system. So I think really to help the doctors, the nurses to take the burden on the NHS is to take a much more positive outlook on things and do the things that we know make ourselves healthy. With the success of any virus, the success of that virus is often due to the health of the host. So the environment in which that virus can survive, can reproduce, can take over is largely down to the resistance of the host. And that's why they're saying to people, you know, most people who contract this virus will have maybe no symptoms, so they're really young and healthy, might not even know they've got it. And this could be, again, dangerous because you can pass it on to elderly, but general healthy people will maybe get mild symptoms, and then we know as people get older, as their health reduces, if they've got multiple other health problems, their risk kind of goes up. So I feel, instead of focusing and worrying about that, because what a lot of the leading experts are saying, and the leading immunobiologists are, you can't avoid the virus. It's not a case of if, it's when. So we can't hide away from it. What we're going to look at doing is prepare ourselves best for it, and I think that's the idea of delaying how quickly it spreads, so it gives a chance for the NHS to get prepared, to have a more steadier influx of more vulnerable, sicker people. But kind of our bit as I feel as a healthcare provider, and probably our bit in our community, what we can really focus on is getting ourselves healthier, getting the host more resistant, because I feel those people maybe on the borderline of maybe not being in optimal health, but not particularly sick, they can start to be a burden if they're not looking after their own health. And that's why fear can be really dangerous, because it can start to stop us doing what we normally do. We've also got the fear of the cortisol release, like we said, that can lower the immune system. But if we're doing less exercise, we know that lowers immunity. We know that if our diet gets worse, and often when we stress, we eat all the wrong things, we have more sugar, drink more alcohol, we know that again is going to lower our immune response. Getting more anxious, less sleep, these are all things that promote less less vitality within the body. So I think what we need to focus on, what we're certainly focusing on in this clinic and in O'Connor Chiropractic, is getting our community as healthy as it can be. So I'm going to release further videos on things that you can do at home for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones, to try and get that resistance within the body as strong as it can be. So again, then you're not becoming sick, you're not becoming a burden and adding to the already overloaded healthcare system. So yeah, don't go away from what got you well in the past, what's keeping you well in the present. And I think fear can almost drive people away from that. And the science, like that we know, is the healthier the person is, the greater the resistance against the virus, the less symptoms people have, less severe the illness, and then the better we can help prepare and support the more sick of our society. Yes, the people with multiple health conditions, with lower resistance, the elderly. So I feel we've got a responsibility not to be very selfish in our behaviour, to do irrational behaviour, stockpiling goods at supermarkets. I'm sure you've heard so much of that, you're sick of it. But doing things, well, what can we do to help our neighbours, to help the elderly, to help our community, to be positive, to pull together. And I think this will best provide a positive approach to dealing with this virus and overcome it as quickly as possible as a community, and as a family. So that's our message from O'Connor Chiropractic. We are staying open. We are here to support you. We can understand if you've decided to self-isolate and not make the trip here to the clinic, but we just want you to know we're making this place as resistant as possible, and we're going to be as positive as possible here, and we're going to help guide people to be as healthy as they can, so they can support themselves, their community, the sick and the vulnerable. But as I say, please don't let fear take over. That can have a bigger effect and more damaging effect than any virus can. And we've overcome many other more virulent or deadly virus before, so we can overcome this together, again, if we pull together as a community and do what we know as science shows us keeps us resistant, keeps us healthy. So as I say, we've got to eat well, we've got to think well, we've got to move well, and let's support each other, and let's get through this together.